Hi, and welcome to the MyConsultant.ca show. I'm Sarah Ostapchuk,
And I'm Joshua Penteleresco.
and we're here to help you with the Canadian immigration process. This show is designed to be a brief way to inform you on Canadian immigration news headlines, immigration policy, and program concepts, and introduce you to industry experts. So, what's making news headlines this week, Josh?
Well, our first story is on November 24th, the Government of Canada announced a new pathway to permanent residency for extended family members of Afghan interpreters who had immigrated to Canada through previous special pathways. This pathway is an extension of the previous one and is a way to continue to recognize the service of Afghans and bring as many vulnerable people to Canada as possible during a very difficult time.
Right. I think what they're referencing is during some missions to Kandahar, Canadian missions, there were some Afghan interpreters that were helping them out in 2009 and 2012. And I think this is honoring that again while, Afghanistan goes through some difficult times politically.
Yeah, difficult's the understatement of a lifetime. I'm glad we're helping them. I mean,
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's yeah, difficulty doesn't cover it. However, I mean, we are aiding some people, or at least we're helping some people leave a very, very, very tumultuous situation. And again, we're being very delicate about this, but it is what it is. And hopefully, things do get better sooner than later over there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not the only news that has happened this week, right, Sarah?
No, some important information if you are planning on coming to Canada early next year. So, the Government of Canada has announced that starting January 15th, 2022, certain groups who had been exempt from vaccine requirements must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And one of those has to be a vaccine that is approved on the Canadian government's list, at least one of the double vaccinations. These groups include those traveling to reunite with family, with the exception of people under 18, and international students, athletes, foreign workers, and essential service providers. And lastly, the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants has rebranded with a new logo and website. You can check it out at www.college-ic.ca so you know how to spot them.
And we will go into further detail about this topic somewhere down the road, we promise. Normally, this week, ladies and gentlemen, we'd have a concepts in immigration, and Sarah teach us something very awesome and wonderful about immigration. This week, however, we're doing something a little bit different.
Yes. So you might have seen if you tuned in last week, we had an interview with Nirja Bandari, and Josh did a great job of asking her about her professional background. And there was even some advice for viewers. But this week, we're going to do the second half of the interview, which is the more personal half. And we wanted to give that all the room that it deserves. So let's go check out the interview with Josh and Nirja.
What was your process like coming to Canada?
Um, so I was about 37, 38 years old when we landed in Canada. And my husband and me came to Canada in 2001. And our sons were 8 and 12 years old that time. It was a struggle because we belonged to business families. We had our personal reasons for coming here. We were not seeing things working for us in the home country. And when we came here, I come from a business family, but I was well educated. I'm a master's in English literature from Delhi University. Over the years, I used to run my own boutique, fashion boutique, for 10 years. And then my husband decided we want to come to Canada, and he told me that beauty is a big line in India, in Canada. So women get a lot of beauty stuff done, and I did course in aesthetics and became a certified aesthetician from London School of Aesthetics. And I realized I don't like rubbing people's hand and feet. I was running my own product line of face packs, hair oils, face creams, under eye creams. So I was doing all that. And I thought I was the next herbal queen of Canada. Till you come to Canada and you realize that your certificates are not good enough. You need to do certification here.
Yeah, I always thought that was the weirdest thing, like honestly, about coming to Canada because I've talked to many people from your country and from other countries around the world. Some of you are way smarter than we are, and I'm not. I know, and like I said that, like just the education, the
Yeah.
competition. I mean, the fact that like India is such a big population, you fight a lot more to, and I mean that in terms of you push yourself to excellence a lot harder. There's more an onus to do that there. So it's almost like when you come here, it's almost like taking a step backwards in one sense because you got to relearn something all over again, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
So as a consultant now, when I came, say in their 30s, if somebody is coming in their 30s and 35, 40s, I go into a little monologue about talking that when you're coming to Canada, burn your boats behind and move forward, because you will not be living that illuminated and life of authority, having servants run around or do things for you and ring a bell and the coffee will come on the table. Maybe you'll have to make your own coffee. Um, Tie your own garbage bag at the end of the day and do things. So it's a step back, definitely. But I will say that if India was my motherland, it is still my motherland. Canada is my fatherland. I will say it has given me all the opportunity. And over the years, when people say, when will I become a Canadian citizen? So promptly I say, when you have a Canadian attitude.
So I guess that goes to the next part of this, which is so adjustment. Like, were you like when you got to mingle with people? I imagine when you became a franchise person, that's when you probably got into the culture. You mingled. You learned all the fun little dirty words here and there, and then you started to become part of the culture fully. But I would imagine the first year was probably really tough being away from home.
It is. It is tough because when you come from different countries, and I not only India, I see from all different kind of countries people come. The first thing they miss is having the house help. Then nobody's there to help you in the house, um, to clean the utensils, to give you a cup of coffee, and then a lot of people who come at a professional stage when they had some position in a company, they don't do things for themselves. They've been used to people doing things for themselves. Where here in Canada, if you make coffee, you make coffee for everybody. Even the CEO of the company will make his own coffee and will ask 10 other people if they would like to have a coffee. Um, I've cleaned my own washrooms in the franchise restaurant because I wanted to keep my facility clean. So the work culture is very different in Canada, and you have to, maybe that is why they say, do you have the Canadian experience? Initially, it was very frustrating to think, what are they asking for when they say Canadian experience? Because again, it comes to the attitude. Because when we come from different countries, the attitude that Canadians have is not there. There is no work small or big, and everybody does everything. Um, you pick your own garbage, you clean your own tables, you do everything yourself. And yes, you can have help to do it, but it's not taken to be low or small. Whereas if in India, if I was if I was putting my own table, if I was if I was taking my used plate myself to the kitchen, it would be saying, oh, you don't have a servant to do it. So it would be looked at in a different way. So coming from different cultural backgrounds, it's an adjustment. But then over the years, I will not go back to India just for getting a servant or having house help or anything, because I enjoy other kind of freedom. I enjoy other kind of a lot of other ways people appreciate what I am, and I will not give up all that just to get those little benefits that I get in the home country. Canada spoils you.
Yes,
Canada
it
spoils you in a lot of
does.
other ways.
It does. It totally does. So, okay, this will be the final question about this, and I think we can call it an interview, but this is just a fun one for me. So, learn a culture from its food. That's what you learn it from. What's something you had here for the first time? Kind of is one of those, oh my God, this is amazing. What was it? Because we all have that, right?
Okay. The first thing I loved was Tim Hortons bagels and Tim Hortons muffins and donuts. because my experience was that the first time I landed, we stayed in Port Credit, and Port Credit is now I'm in Brampton. Brampton has a fusion of all cultures, but Port Credit was very Canadian, very white area, and everybody was holding Tim Horton cups at the bus stop, at the gas station, in their car, everywhere. So then I told my husband we need to have a Tim Horton coffee, and we went to Tim Hortons, and they're eating their muffins and donuts. I said, this we have to have. But that was the most bitterest coffee of my life, because I was converting the money to the Indian rupee, and I felt that this has costed me $2, that big, large coffee, which four of us shared, husband, wife, and the two kids. I'm adding more cream to it, I'm adding sugar to it, but it's not becoming sweet. Then I said it was not the fault of the coffee. It was because that money was pinching me so much that I could have bought the whole packet of coffee in that $2 in India.
Mhm.
So the conversion was pinching me. And I still think that was the bitterest coffee of my life. Though now I enjoy my Tim Hortons like no tomorrow. I love my French vanillas and I love my muffins and donuts. And I was at one time addicted to Tim Hortons breakfast. That is my evergreen addiction to Tim Hortons. And then you cannot get over the fries with having gravy on top, and they're
Poutine.
so Canadian.
Poutine.
It's so
Yes.
Canadian to have your fries with gravy and cheese on top. Poutine.
Mm-hmm.
That's so Canadian, and you get so addicted to it.
It is good stuff. It is good
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I personally really enjoyed listening to that interview, and I noticed that Nirja and I have a lot of things in common.
Really? But like
Mhm.
what?
Well, her sons went to U of T and I went to U of T, and she was an English major. I was an English major, and and Tim Hortons. I love Tim Hortons so much.
Most of us love Tim Hortons in some form
I
or
think
fashion.
so.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a very Canadian thing, although it is also an American thing. At my grandmother's house in Detroit, it's literally about a half a mile. And that's and for people that's wondering, it's about 3/4 of a kilometer, like
Mhm.
from her house. So I sometimes
Right. They're over the border now a little bit for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Northern states. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts still rules the United States, but there's a Tim Horton presence.
Do they have bagels?
Not as good.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Do they have bagels?
They do. It
Oh.
depends on the state. Depends on the state. It's not their
Right.
thing though. It really isn't their things. Yeah. Bagel fan, I see.
Definitely a bagel fan.
All
Yeah.
right. And we broke her just a little bit with that. We'll keep going though. So my favorite thing about talking with Nirja was, I think in a very real way, she's heroic in the sense that she completely was willing to change. I think that's one of the hardest things. All of us, doesn't matter, even if we live in Canada, life has changed. And coming to Canada is probably one of the biggest, like from another country, another world. That's one of the biggest changes you can make. And it takes a huge leap of faith to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I say that without the knowledge of what that's really like. You and I know what it's like to move maybe across the country to a new province, and that can be jarring. And I do think I have had to change a little bit coming from my Ontario self to my sort of prairie self. But to do it on an international scale, where there's a language barrier and cultural barriers, that's difficult.
And that's part of the reason why Nirja was so awesome. And I was really, really happy to have that interview.
Yeah, and she's just such a great resource for people who are coming to Canada, because she's advising people on what she's been through.
And that will do it for this week's episode of the My Consultant Show. For more information about the topics covered in this episode, please visit MyConsultant.ca, where you can explore up-to-date news on important issues, read in-depth articles explaining immigration and citizenship, and seek answers to your most pressing questions from a vibrant community of authorized immigration and citizenship consultants. That will do it this week. I'm Joshua Pinto-Oresco.
And I'm Sarah Ostapchuk.
Aiding and assisting you to come to Canada.
Have a great week.